Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do. Every weekday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over the airwaves of Sirius XM. Mad Dog Sports Radio. The number to call up as always is 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. I am coming at you live from Steelers training camp in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. About 45 minutes to an hour outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers, Super Bowl contenders, legitimate Super Bowl contenders, will be training, and they are training, getting set for the 2016 NFL season. Mike Tomlin, head coach, Super Bowl champion coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, my favorite coach in all of the NFL. He will be on the show today, sitting across from yours truly, and I can't wait to talk to him about a bevy of things concerning the Pittsburgh Steelers, concerning, not just the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the rest of the NFL, and some things pertaining to the Rooney Rule as well. Stick around. You do not want to miss what he will have to say. Of course, I'll get into the Dallas Cowboys, their latest troubles, the fact that they're the gift that keeps on giving. Obviously, I don't mean that. I'm being sarcastic about it because there's very little to nothing funny about the things that come associated with the Dallas Cowboys in this day and age. Of course, I'm going to revisit comments that I said on Monday's ESPN2's First Take that has some folks in Dallas in an uproar. Let me be the first to say I could give a damn. I'm not going to apologize, nor do I plan on backtracking from a single iota of what I had to say. I said it. I meant it. I'm not apologizing. I still mean it, and I'm going to reiterate it again before this show ends today, regardless of what anybody has to say. First things first. I got to get into a little NBA. Because yesterday, the great one himself, the greatest player in the world right now, it is not Steph Curry, it is LeBron James. He did an interview. I think it was somebody for SI.com that he did the interview with. And LeBron James had some very, very interesting things to say. LeBron James was quoted about what's his motivation moving forward. He's got 7 NBA Finals appearances, 6 consecutive NBA Finals appearances, 3 NBA championships along the way. What could possibly still motivate this man, LeBron James, a 3-time champion, a global iconic figure, somebody who's worth over $500 million, who, by the way, is the greatest player in the world and arguably the greatest athlete on the planet as well? What could possibly be motivating him at this particular point in time? Here is a quote from LeBron James. My motivation is this ghost I'm chasing. The ghost played in Chicago. My career is totally different than Michael Jordan's. What I've gone through is totally different than what he went through. What he did was unbelievable, and I watched it unfold. I looked up to him so much, I think it's cool to put myself in position to be one of those great players. But if I can ever put myself in position to be the greatest player, that would be something extraordinary. That is a quote from LeBron James. My producer extraordinaire, Jonathan Winthrop, being the wannabe aspiring columnist that he is, ad-libbed by adding, some people are overreacting to this in a negative way. But I say LeBron is right to motivate himself. Chasing a championship for Cleveland had been that motivation upon his return, so it's only reasonable to think a great player like himself needs new lofty challenges. LeBron has already accomplished what many thought was impossible, bringing Cleveland a title. He's been to 6 straight NBA Finals, winning 3 of them, and his team is still projected to be the class of the Eastern Conference. How many more NBA Finals can LeBron get to? Can he run that streak to 8 straight? Or what if the Cavaliers take down that super team being constructed out west? Let me say this to my listeners worldwide, nationwide, and worldwide. I love my producer, Jonathan Winthrop, and Nuno Texiera. As far as I'm concerned, for as long as I'm doing radio, they will be around. Sometimes I wonder about that with Jonathan Winthrop because he is a bit different. Not Forrest Gump different, but different. Jonathan's crazy. I love that about him most times. Sometimes he's just out there. Like, for example, here's one of those out there comments. 8 straight finals for LeBron James? I guess he's talking about the fact that he's been in 7 straight, so he's going to 8 straight year. But we're talking championships. We're not talking finals appearances. And LeBron James in order to catch Michael Jordan, would have to win 3 more championships. Do I think he's going to pull that off? No. Do I think if anybody has a shot at him? Yeah. But having said all of that, let me be very, very clear with what I'm about to say to all my listeners out there. If LeBron James were to win 6 rings, I'm still not giving him that badge of honor as the GOAT over Michael Jordan. Because last time I checked, the one thing that LeBron absolutely, positively cannot pull off is perfection. LeBron James can never win 6 titles and erase the 4 titles losses. He's lost in the finals 4 times. In one NBA Finals, he had Jason Terry and J.J. Barea guarding him. In one NBA Finals, he disappeared in the 4th quarter of 4 consecutive games. Do you think for 1 second that I'm going to give that person the edge over Michael Jordan? I know LeBron is great. LeBron has proved most of us to be liars throughout most of his career, because even with lofty expectations from the time he came into the NBA, he exceeded those expectations, and he deserves credit for it. He is the greatest small forward to have ever played the game of basketball. He's phenomenal. He's a great person. He's a great basketball ambassador. He's a great young businessman. LeBron is so many things on so many levels. But the one thing he can never be in basketball parlance is perfect. He's lost 4 times in the NBA Finals. I don't even count 2 against him. I don't count the loss to Golden State last year to LeBron James. I don't count his first loss to the San Antonio Spurs when he was in Cleveland against LeBron James. But I have to count the loss to Dallas against him. I have to count the loss to the San Antonio Spurs to some degree against him. Those are 2 legitimate NBA Finals losses. Things that never happened to LeBron James. To Michael Jordan. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Michael Jordan was 6 for 6 in NBA Finals. All 6 times he won NBA Finals MVP. And never, as in 0, never, ever, ever did Michael Jordan allow an NBA Finals to reach a Game 7. LeBron's been in 2 of them. Went to Game 7 against the San Antonio Spurs. Won another one in Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors. Lost in 6 to Golden State. Lost in 5 to San Antonio. Lost in 6 to Dallas. Lost in 4 to San Antonio. LeBron James is a lot of things. Most of them absolutely great, if not sensational. Perfection can never be one of them. But you can say that about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the greatest that I've ever seen. And what LeBron has evolved into, what LeBron has grown into, what LeBron has become, Michael Jordan was there from the time he got into the league. Michael Jordan didn't have much of a team. But in his second year in the league, after missing most of the season and coming back and getting swept by Boston in the first round, that was the game when he dropped 63 on Larry Bird, and Larry Bird called him God in sneakers. Larry Bird. It's when the game was more physical, when ticky-tack fouls were not being called, when you couldn't get called for a foul for having bad breath and breathing on somebody. This is when Michael Jordan was doing what he did. So all of this stuff about LeBron James chasing Michael Jordan, stop it. It's a futile chase. It's like me trying to run 10 miles, swearing that I'll never stop for a water break or to just walk a few paces. It ain't happening, folks. Hell, with me, I might stop and have dinner. I ain't got it. It can't happen. Okay? I'm not that dude. LeBron James is many things. But when it comes to the GOAT, that is Michael Jordan, respectfully, deferentially, with nothing but great admiration and respect for the greatest player in the world today, LeBron James ain't that dude. Not that GOAT that is Michael Jordan. And by the way, B.J. Armstrong, Michael Jordan's former teammate, agreed with me, at least to some degree. He chimed in about LeBron and what LeBron had to say. He was there for 3 of the Bulls titles when Michael Jordan three-peated. B.J. Armstrong cautioned LeBron about chasing a ghost, suggesting not to look at Jordan that way. I'm reading from my notes. My producer extraordinaire, Jonathan Winthrop, provided to me. He said Armstrong said Jordan became the greatest without comparison because Jordan himself would never entertain comparisons. But he also thinks being 6-0 in the finals went a long way in doing that. But people got to stop overreacting. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just call it that way. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Look, let me turn this conversation into being very, very serious. I'm here at Steelers camp in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Monday, while we were in studio in Bristol, ESPN2's First Take comes on every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. My new partner, Max Kellerman, was there with me. There are very... How can I put this? People really don't know me. They really don't know who they're dealing with. They really don't understand that I am somebody who knows I'm not flawless, who errs in judgment sometimes, who's far from perfect, who's not above reproach, who is more than capable of admitting when I'm wrong and openly and publicly acknowledging as much when that is so. I don't get upset at people for telling me I'm wrong. I get upset for being treated like an individual who can't admit that he's wrong when I'll always admit when I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. I hold hard and firm to this belief. If you're going to insult someone publicly and you were wrong, don't apologize privately, apologize publicly. If you said something public and you were wrong, correct yourself publicly so everybody will know your correction just like they knew what you asserted beforehand. But ladies and gentlemen, it's very rare that I'm going to do that. You know why? Because it's very rare that I'm wrong, damn it. Because I do my homework. I know what the hell I'm talking about. And more importantly, I couch my words carefully enough not to convict myself by being so finite and so resolute in a position that there is no wiggle room whatsoever. I always leave myself open for modification. The exception, one of the few exceptions, will be when it pertains to my statement this past Monday about the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys made news over the weekend, locking arm in arm with police officers in Dallas in the aftermath of 5 police officers being shot and killed by some despicable human being who should be in a different kind of hell, as far as I'm concerned. Having said all of that, or maybe it was just a sick individual who was demented. I don't know all the particulars. See the modification? Having said all of that, I said I had a problem. I went on to say it wasn't literally about the Dallas Cowboys locking arm in arm with Dallas police officers. Who wouldn't do that? Who wouldn't have sensitivity to that? Who wouldn't be mindful of how tragic that incident was, that ordeal was? And how not just Dallas police officers, but police officers everywhere need all of our support, including the support of the black community. Of course they do. A few rogue police officers doesn't define police departments nationwide, rife with police officers who've sworn to protect and serve the lives of American citizens and beyond everywhere in our nation. And for the most part, do a very, very admirable job of doing just that. These are all the things that I've said Monday. Of course the Dallas Cowboys were right. Of course they had the appropriate level of sensitivity. Of course they should be applauded for it. What I said and what I will not change and what I will stand by to the end is that the Dallas Cowboys, to the uber cynic out there, not to me, but to the uber cynic out there, can be perceived as potentially doing something for publicity yet again. Because that's their MO. And the reason why you could say something like that is because the Dallas Cowboys should be just as committed to obeying the law and not being in the news for lawlessness, which provokes police officers' involvement. That's what I was trying to say. You lock in arms with police officers, well, then do me a favor. Take it a step further and stay the hell out of news. That ultimately invites the police to invade your life because of your transgressions. And for those that would argue with me, I have literally 2 sheets of paper with anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different situations involving the Dallas Cowboys, ranging from marijuana use, arrest involving marijuana possessions, DUIs, intoxicated manslaughter, shoplifting, family violence, public intoxication, traffic warrants, and brandishing weapons. I mean, do you really want me to get started? Are you really going to sit up there with a straight face as a Dallas Cowboy fan and tell me that neither myself nor anyone else has the right to sit up there and to simply say to the Dallas Cowboys, while you're locking arm in arm with police officers in Dallas, could you make sure that in the aftermath of all of this, you can stay out the damn news for lawlessness? I'm wrong for saying that? Hell, I'll look around. My voice is loud enough. I got people around me. I got people in front of me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Of course the Dallas Cowboys, they're human beings. They're an organization. Of course they're sensitive to Dallas police officers and police officers everywhere. I'm not trying to question their sincerity in that regard. It wasn't something to question their sincerity. That's the uber critic in them. I specifically said that's not me. I don't believe that about the Dallas Cowboys. What I said is that the uber critic would believe otherwise because they're always chasing publicity. What I did say, and what I absolutely do stand by, is this. Since you're locking arm in arm with police officers, being sensitive to their challenges that they face on a daily basis, could you take it upon yourself as an organization and as players playing for that organization? Could you take it upon yourself to make their job a little bit easier by not being in the news, provoking their involvement because of your lawlessness? I stand by that. I will not change. That is how I feel. And damn it, that is that. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call. It's 888-623-3646. Your phone call's a little bit later on in the show, but up next, the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the one and only Mike Tomlin. He's on the show next with yours truly, the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And by the way, Coach Mike Tomlin may only have a few minutes, but I want the record to show he could talk for as long as he wants to because it's my show, and I'm handing it to him. Mike Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers up next with yours truly on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
College football is back, and Sirius XM is traveling all across the country, talking with the star players and top coaches from college football's powerhouse programs. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Number 1 right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'll get to your phone calls in just a little while, but it is my honor and privilege to have my absolute favorite coach in all of football, college or pros, a man that I've come to know over the years, a Super Bowl champion coach, been to 2 Super Bowls, still coaching the Steelers. I think this is 10 years now, right, Coach Mike Tomlin? Is it 10 years?
It is year 10.
Wow. Yeah. How does that feel? I mean, when you thought about becoming a head coach in a National Football League, It's bad. I mean, it's bad as in good. Bad enough that you're a coach for 10 years, but with the Steelers, did you ever see that happening?
I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't. I think that's the mentality that I have. I know when you lay awake at night, you're looking at the ceiling, you're dreaming about how you want to do it. That's what my dreams look like. Creating an environment that's built on a principle and creating a space where guys can come home. And so when I see guys that played for me, guys like Ryan Clark that's in your business, and he gets an opportunity to come back here and this is home, or guys like Ike Taylor, I think that's the benefit of longevity, to be able to provide home for guys like that, and it's been a blessing to me and to us.
Well, you don't come across as the most sentimental dude in the world. You're hardcore, coach. You're going to call it like you see it. You know I love that about you. You know, but if anybody talks to anyone who has played for you, you never hear anything but just the ultimate praise. Straight shooter, holds guys accountable, always honest, no BS. These are guys that, I mean, they revere you for the man that you are, and you don't have an NFL player's background. What is that like for you to hear from these guys talk about you that way? When I know you're told that often.
Man, it's really humbling. I want to create a space that's much like the vision. I think oftentimes we think, man, if I get an opportunity to do that, this is how I do it. But then when you get that opportunity, it doesn't quite look how your vision was. I try to work hard on a day-to-day basis to make the reality of this such situation be like that vision. I want to create a space where these guys can chase what they're chasing. But at the same time, understand the business that's in front of us, and the fact that the sum of the parts are greater, obviously, than the individual parts themselves.
We're talking to Mike Tomlin, head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We sit here now with the Steelers. It's training camp, but let's face reality. You look at the Steelers, you look at Big Ben Roethlisberger, healthy. You look at Antonio Brown, 136 receptions last year, 1,800-plus yards. He's in camp. Le'Veon Bell, after 4 games, he should be there. D'Angelo Williams, he can ball. It's one thing to believe in your troops. It's another thing to look at that squad and say, we could really do it. We could win it all. How are you feeling about your team right now, and why?
I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I didn't feel that way every year. I do. I can get myself in such a state that to build around the tools that we have to work toward a goal. I understand what people from the outside say when they look at the tools at our disposal and say this year could be the year. But I honestly felt the same way last year, and the year before, and the year before. I try to focus on each individual group for each individual season and try to maximize that group and that opportunity in the effort to bring home the Lombardi for Steeler Nation, because that's the job. And I won't allow myself to look at it any other way. I know what you mean when you say it. I feel good about this group, even relative to others. But, you're not going to find a year where I don't feel good about the group that I'm working with relative to those goals.
Okay, so that's right. You feel good about your team every year. But this year, looking at this team, what specifically has you feeling good about this team that may be different than the good feeling you had about last year's team?
Some of the sticking points that may cause problems throughout the journey are less so this year than a year ago, meaning some of the critical components of the group are a year older, more seasons, more ready for the challenges that we know that lie ahead. There's less questions about guys like Ryan Shazier, Stephon Tuitt, Bud Dupree, Jarvis Jones, and others. Some of the core young defenders that got to be what we all know they have to be. There are less questions about them as individuals as we sit here today than it was 12 months ago.
Are they faster than they were in the past? Is this defense faster than it was in the past?
I don't know that they're physically faster. I know that I expect them to play faster because they have a better understanding of what it is they need to do. And oftentimes, knowing what to do produces that game speed that we all define as a frenzied defense. I think knowledge has got just as much to do with that as straight-on physical talent.
I don't want to misquote you at all because I read the article, but I don't remember the exact quote. But they were alluding to how you are unapologetic about the fact that in training camp, when you're out there, you will get physical. You will allow these guys to play physical because you're trying to mirror what's transpiring during the regular season, whereas some people speculated about other teams and how you got to guard against that because the sport is so physical, injuries are so pivotal, et cetera, et cetera. That's something that you shouldn't do. Speak to me about that, your mentality about why you take that approach, that physical approach from day one in training camp.
I just believe it's a necessary part of team development. If we want physicality to be a winning edge for us, and we're committed to that, there's no shortcuts to that. Also, I'm not a guy that generally lives in his fears. I understand that every time you roll that ball out, that injury is a part of this game. And I like to spend time talking about the elements of that which we can control, which is the overall readiness of the potential replacement. One man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. There's been a lot of good men that have stepped up and shown what they're capable of doing on a larger scale because of someone else's misfortune. So I buy into those things. I think it's positives and negatives of the discussion, but for me, the positive much more outweigh the negatives than not taking this approach to team development.
Let's get into specific players, Coach Tomlin.
Sure.
Big Ben Roethlisberger, the man, a future Hall of Famer, one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. I don't care what anybody says. They all know. We don't talk about his name enough. Maybe because his last name is so damn long. Maybe that's what or they can't spell it off the top of their head. I don't know, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer. Talk to me about Big Ben Roethlisberger, how ready he appears, and where is his mindset? Because he's been around for a long time in this game, and you got to wonder whether or not he's looking at his own football mortality.
I really think the older he gets, the more seasoned he gets, the more singularly focused he gets, the better he gets. I'm seeing it out here in his performance. You can sit around and talk in generalities about the quality of his performance and what's better, but I see tangible evidence. I mean, his deep ball is as accurate right now at this point in the journey as I have ever seen it. There's physical representations of his improvement. Number one, he's in great physical shape, but, that kind of comes with the territory. He's doing a great job of leading and managing young players, directing them in the ways that the quarterback needs to direct them, getting on the same page with young receivers, providing opportunities for those guys in this setting to prove themselves to him and to us. And some of the things that you see him naturally do better over the course of his career.
How often do y'all talk? I'm talking about sit down and just rap with one another, because on one hand I can see you doing that because talking to you is a blessing, to be quite honest with you. I love talking to you, but you also have that uncanny ability to have your presence felt while you're leaving somebody totally alone. I'm wondering, are you one of those coaches that sits there and you're religiously around your quarterback, or are you one of those guys that you know what to do? Leave him alone.
We don't have a regularly scheduled talk, but we do it as needed. And I think 10 years together affords us the opportunity to take that approach, and we do. Just 2 nights ago, he came in and sat in my room after his individual night meetings. We sat there maybe 30 minutes and talked on a myriad of things. And I think that's the approach that he and I have evolved in terms of taking. We talk when we need to. We talk on a variety of subjects when we need to, but we don't take it in a manner that we need to talk on a regularly scheduled basis in that way.
If I'm wrong about this, I don't mind you checking me at all. I appreciate it. I was proud of Big Ben Roethlisberger the other day when he spoke about Le'Veon Bell. It's not to denigrate Le'Veon Bell in any way. You might have made mistakes. You got to handle it. Martavis Bryant, the same thing. But it seemed to me that Big Ben Roethlisberger wasn't talking about his mistake. He was talking about the fact that we're teammates and we're friends, and you weren't as honest and forthcoming with me as you should have been. I applaud the fact that that's what he's holding them accountable for. Like, I'm your brother. We wear the same uniform. We play together. I asked you a question. Don't duck me. I appreciated that. As a head coach, when you see something like that from your star player, what does that say to you?
You never got to apologize for telling the truth as you see it. I'm a proponent of addressing the elephant in the room. And let's be honest, as we get kicked off on this journey that is 2016, guys got to answer a lot of questions about what's transpired with Le'Veon and Martavis and guys like that. So they have a right to feel a certain kind of way about having to address those issues. Anything less than honest is what I got an issue with. If those are his heartfelt feelings, then I support that. I'm glad that he feels strong enough to express them, not only to Le'Veon personally, but to whoever asks.
Mm-hmm. What did you say to Martavis Bryant when he was suspended for the season, when Le'Veon Bell, it was announced he was going to be suspended for the 4 games, even though he's appealing that decision? What did you say, if anything, to them?
I expressed disappointment, but that's just part of it. That's the easy part of it. How do you move forward? And what are constructive things that you have to do to move forward? I think that's where I spend my energy in terms of dealing with those guys specifically, or just the subject in general from a broad standpoint. I think that when you're in my position and you draft these young people, I have a commitment to help them grow and develop not only as players, but probably more importantly as people. and they're unfinished products in all areas. And I need to be as patient as this job will allow me to be in terms of the development of those people. Now, how much patience that is, none of us have the answer to that. When we get to the road where we run out of patience, we all know when we're there. And that could be different people. That could be different for different people under different circumstances. So those are the things that I talk about because that's what's real. That's this business. And I try to be as honest and forthright as I can to them under those circumstances.
Head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, with me right here on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let me transition to a different subject before getting back to football, so we make sure we have time to discuss this because I know this has been on your mind, and it certainly has been on my mind. A few weeks ago, I was on vacation. The Rooney Rule became a huge subject, in the news because Tony Dungy spoke out about what's been transpiring, talking about the original intent of the rule was basically to give minorities an opportunity to be legitimately interviewed, and move forward from there to see what they brought to the table, to have an open policy and have an open mind about giving them chances. Whereas now he believes they're just going through the process, basically interviewing folks just to say that they did. And it's not only the NFL level some of us are concerned about, it's the college football level that people are concerned about. I've spoken to Sumlin and various other coaches and what have you, and their feelings and their concerns about some of these things. Talk to me about what's on your mind when you see the news or you watch television and you hear about issues pertaining to the Rooney Rule, particularly since you're an African-American hired by the Rooneys, who had a lot to do with this, if not everything to do with this rule being implemented into the NFL. Talk to me about that.
There's so many elements of the discussion that need to be talked about. First of all, the timeliness of the discussion. I'm glad that the discussion is being brought up. Anytime it's brought up is significant, but boy, wouldn't it be more significant to have this discussion in December and January, just prior to the college and professional hiring cycles? But it's less sexy of a topic that time of year because there are playoff races and bowl games to talk about. So it kind of gets pushed to the side when it could probably be most useful to those seeking worthy opportunities. That's one element of the discussion, the timeliness of the discussion. Another element of it is there are new things being infused into the equation that we're bearing our heads regarding. The use of search firms in the hiring process is a head scratcher to me, to be quite honest. If I'm a college, university chancellor or president, I would be upset if an athletic director came to me and talked about wanting to use a search firm for a head coaching hire, whether it's football or basketball. As athletic administrators, if I'm a president, that's what I employ them for, to make those decisions to hire coaches. They hire lesser profile coaches. They hire Olympic sport coaches. Why is basketball and football being treated any differently, other than it might be a venue to be less than transparent? And so, I want to talk about the search firm element of the discussion, whether it's college ball, football, or basketball, or in the professional ranks. I think there's a little less transparency when you include outside contributors into the process.
And let's make sure we illuminate what you mean by a lack of transparency. If you are a university or an NFL team and you go about the business of using a search firm as opposed to the administrators you have in place who are empowered to do the hiring, then essentially if you don't follow the process or you don't do things right, what you're saying is, they can just blame it on the search firm and therefore they avoid accountability, and as a result they just keep on doing what they've been doing and no progress is being made. Did I say that?
Speak on, Stephen A.
Is that what it is, Coach?
That's exactly what it is. That's why you're good at what you do. I appreciate you taking that alley-oop I threw at you.
I appreciate it as well. I mean, how can it be remedied in your estimation? What needs to be done?
I think open and frank discussions is a place to start. We need to have those. We can't have enough of those. And the timeliness of those discussions, like I mentioned earlier, is pivotal. Right now it's hot, and I'll take it when I can get it. But it'd be much hotter if we had this at the front of these hiring cycles, wouldn't it? Yeah. The level of accountability, the outside pressure that's applied by members of the media would be much more significant if it was done at that time of the year than it is this time of the year. Those are some of the things I'm hunting. And I just want to continue. And the interesting thing is, we're talking about worthy candidates regardless of ethnicity or background. And that's something that's often missed. I want to champion the deserving guys. I work with a lot of guys that I've really been impressed with their professionalism and capability that haven't gotten opportunities, black, white, or other. And, giving worthy people an opportunity to pursue their hopes and dreams is what we're talking about.
Now, you do know playing the devil's advocate, what folks would say listening to Mike Tomlin. You're an African American. You're doing a great job. You were given the opportunity. How come others can't follow Mike Tomlin and be like Mike Tomlin? How come they can't go in that interview and knock it out the park? How come they can't show up and win a Super Bowl championship? How come they can't show up and be consistently productive as a head coach on this level? Maybe, just maybe, there would be more Mike Tomlins if more guys performed like Mike Tomlin. To that you say what?
I'll say this, interviewing has always been my strong suit, but interviewing is not coaching. And those that are empowered to make decisions regarding coaching, they got to be able to look past a shiny and interesting interview and look at a skill set that's geared toward doing the job. Just because someone's a great interview doesn't mean they're going to be a great coach day to day. And I just think that that's just part of the traits that come with the people that need to be in position making these hires. They need to be able to understand and identify a great interviewer and what might be the holes that tripped him up. But they also got to be able to look past somebody that might be less than impressive in an interview setting but might have the skills necessary to do the job. Those are their issues, and that's why they're in the positions to make the decisions that they do.
Did you feel any extra pressure at all? I imagine I know the answer is probably no, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you feel being Mike Tomlin, carrying the mantle that you carry, because in the eyes of a lot of folks, you're the standard bearer right now, especially now that Tony Dungy's gone. How do you feel being Mike Tomlin, being in the position that you're in, willing to bring attention to these kind of issues, knowing that there may be people out there who disagree with that?
I'm honored to do it. A steeper price has been paid by those that have come before me in similar circumstances than the price that I have to pay. If I have an opportunity to make it better for the next generation or the next deserving men, regardless of who they are, by simply moving in consciousness with the opportunity that I have right now and talking about issues that need to be addressed, I do so humbly, because I know that my journey is easier because of the guys like Coach Dungy and Ray Rhodes and Art Shell and others. So if it's my time, man, I embrace and accept that.
Isn't it special to be working for bosses that, not only support you, but they instigated and provoked the whole process for you? I mean, how special is it to be working for the Rooneys, who have everything to do with this?
The reality of working for these men is better than the reputation. And you guys know the reputation. Yeah. The reality is better than that. And that's all I can say, but what else needs to be said? I never take it for granted. I appreciate it every day.
Before I let you get on out of here, Pittsburgh Steelers right now, when you and I, vibe back and forth, I always say to you, I'm concerned about that defense. I'm concerned about that defense, Coach. I'm concerned about the secondary. I know you drafted on that side of the ball, and I'm seeing Dupree and Shazier, and I'm hoping Jarvis Jones steps up to it and those boys. And Timmons, I expect them to be ready. How good are you feeling about this defense, particularly against the pass? People don't run on you very easily, but they have been passing. What are you doing to address that?
I feel really good about it, but how I feel about it in reality of it's two different things. You know how it is, man. We got to roll this ball out here and get better every day and meet the challenges that each week holds. Man, we got some guys that can play. In some instances, they lack experience, but I'm not going to view that as a problem. That's our job as coaches to accelerate that learning curve and bring this group together. I know one thing, we're not lacking in ingredients, so I'm not looking for a place to hide from my perspective. If we don't meet the standard, man, put it on me.
I got you. I'm always honored to talk to you, my man. Love you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Coach Mike Tomlin, head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Your comments about anything you've heard from Coach Tomlin. You know what I had to say about them damn Cowboys. I still ain't apologizing. And, of course, I was talking about LeBron James a bit earlier as well. Your phone calls and more up next on Mad Dog, Sirius XM, Channel 82. Hey guys, thanks for lending me the crock pot. I used it to make my favorite chili. You're welcome, Dana. Make sure you bring some down next time. Even with a full kitchen, you're not expected to pack a blender, toaster oven, or, a crock pot. That's why Candlewood Suites is everything from small kitchen appliances to board games for you to borrow anytime. If you're ready for all the basics you'd expect, plus a genuine staff always willing to help, book your next stay with Candlewood Suites. Find out more at candlewoodssuites.com. Candlewood Suites. True, genuine people. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Back to the phones, or to the phones we go at 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go to Gerald in Maryland. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Good afternoon, Gerald. How are you?
Hey, Stephen A. How are you doing?
How are you doing? Appreciate the call. What's going on?
Man, listen, Stephen A., I'm a big fan of yours, but I don't agree with some of the stuff you say. And I think that the fact that
you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to, bro. Okay.
You're right. But I just don't think that you give LeBron. He's got to have the option to be able to become greater. In this finals alone, he's done stuff Jordan has never done. And he's going.
Hold on. Pump your brakes for a second. Pump your brakes for 1 second. I'm not denying him the license or the ability to get even better. I'm just simply saying he'll never be MJ.
But okay, so you're saying MJ, but I'm saying that first of all, MJ is not the greatest of all time. He's only the greatest scorer that we've ever seen. He's not the greatest of all time. I mean,
who's the greatest of all time?
Oh, well,
Bill Russell is not the greatest individual player of all time. He's not.
Okay, I agree. But what I'm saying to you, Jordan all around is not the greatest all around player we've ever seen in this lifetime. Come on now.
Well, who is it? Who is it?
Okay, that's that. Now we're getting into a different conversation.
Hold on, no. Don't give me additives and all that stuff. Answer my question. I'm giving you an opportunity to answer my question. Who is better than Michael Jordan?
All around. I would say LeBron. All around.
I disagree.
Okay, well, see, that's why we part ways. LeBron, at his size and the things he can do, and leading everybody in every category in the finals. I mean, really?
Jordan did that. Jordan did that a lot of times, too. And by the way, Jordan, on a consistent basis, was the better defender.
You think so?
Yes.
I think Scottie Pippen was.
I think Scottie Pippen was phenomenal. But so was Jordan.
You don't think Scottie was a better defender than because remember, Jordan couldn't even hold Magic. Scottie had to hold Magic.
Jordan was undersized against Magic because Magic had him by about 4 inches and about 20 pounds.
But we don't give LeBron that same, we don't give him the same. Okay, well, this guy's that.
Well, that's like, but that's like asking LeBron to guard Olajuwon. LeBron walking around 6'9", 250, 260.
LeBron can guard Olajuwon.
Pound for pound. He could not. Did you just say? Hold on. Did you just say LeBron James could guard Hakeem Olajuwon?
I said shut him down. I said you could put him there and maybe he could get a stop or two.
Oh, so that's what we're doing now. We're playing semantics. Now you're gonna sit there and say I didn't say this. I said that's what we're doing. I thought you said LeBron could guard Olajuwon.
My point is Jordan is not the greatest all-around player we've ever seen. He's only the greatest scorer. That's my point. And
okay.
Going 6-0 in the
we
finals,
disagree, but go ahead.
You can't judge somebody's greatness on just a 6-0 in the finals. That's not fair. I mean, look at the man's body of work, and by the time LeBron is done, he's going to pass Jordan in every.
If Jordan hadn't retired, Michael Jordan would have went to 8 straight NBA Finals. 8 straight.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Hold on, stop. How can I not say that? The Knicks wouldn't have been there to go against Houston. Okay, Orlando wouldn't have been there to go against Houston. When Jordan had a full season under his belt against Shaq, against Penny, against Nick Anderson, against Dennis Scott, what did he do to those boys? What happened?
He's not the greatest, Stephen A. He's not.
Goodbye. You're entitled to your opinion. I disagree. You got your argument, I got mine. I disagree with you. Plain and simple. Bobby in Danbury, you're live with Stephen A. I'm mad though. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A?
I'm good. Talk to me.
All right. I respect you. I love everything you talk about.
Stop. I host a radio show. I don't mind that y'all guys disagree with me. I'm not offended by that. Nobody has to throw out a bunch of qualifiers about how much y'all love and respect me. I appreciate the love. I really do. All I'm saying is
I'm going to come out of nowhere, and I'm going to tell you that don't you ever say Dallas Cowboy fans are delusional, okay? Because this is our year to win the Super Bowl.
Let me get this straight. You just called up on this radio show to tell me not to say don't ever say that the Dallas Cowboy fans are delusional, and in the same breath you're going to sit there and the very next sentence out of your mouth is that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl?
We have all the tools to win the Super Bowl this year.
Really? What do you have defensively? What do you have?
All right,
What do you
let
have?
me tell you something. We got Orlando Scandrick coming back. Forrest Claiborne playing healthy at a high level.
You're hilarious. You're hilarious. Man, thank you so much for calling me today. This is hysterical. Really? I asked you why the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Tony, you mean Mr. Tony Romo that's been a quarterback in the league for 10 years as a starter and has 2 playoff wins on his resume? That Tony Romo? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. One of the best quarterbacks to ever play in a Dallas Cowboy uniform.
All right. Now check this out. Are you ready for this? Bobby, now you're calling up to this show, right? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to hold you to this. You being honest. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. You have to promise to be honest. You have to don't be emotional. Don't play favorites. Be honest. I'm not asking you to avoid the Dallas Cowboys. I need you to answer me an honest question.
Okay.
What year have you not said that about the Cowboys?
I would come out and say this.
No. That's not what I asked. I asked you a direct question. What year have you not come out and said the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this year?
I say every year.
I said not win. Not win.
Oh, well, there hasn't been a time where I haven't said it.
Time out. That's my point. The Dallas Cowboys have gotten in their own way. They have been an accident waiting to happen, whether it's drug use, whether it's arrest, whether it's guys getting hurt, whether it's Jerry Jones doing something stupid, or whatever the case may be, the Dallas Cowboys have been an accident practically every year for the last 20 years. And you just confessed that every year you say the Dallas Cowboys are going to win. If that ain't delusional, I don't know what is. Hour number 2 up next with Stephen A.
The biggest names behind the biggest games on IGN Esports Today.
Demetrius Johnson, UFC flyweight champion. What's it like to actually turn on UFC video games and see yourself?
It's amazing, and I'm not going to stop there. I would love for Capcom to do me as a DLC character. Demetrius Johnson, the Mighty One, entered Street Fighter to be the Ultimate Fighter.
IGN Esports Today with Kevin Naki. Weekdays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on SiriusXM Bleacher Report Radio, Channel 83.
Nearly pass it off to the namesake for the channel, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, with his afternoon drive show right here on SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. The number to call up as always is 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. A couple of things that I want to get to before getting back to the callers. Alex Rodriguez is on the verge of being cut by the New York Yankees. In case y'all haven't heard the news. Alex Rodriguez, one of the all-time home run leaders, also a serial cheater in the eyes of many, is not having the greatest year in the world. He's batting .204. He's only got 9 home runs and 29 RBIs. On-base percentage of .252, slugging percentage of .656, or .356, I'm sorry. OPS of .609. It's not great. His numbers are down across the board. It's gotten to the point where he's only really played once in the last few weeks or so. He's basically riding the bench. The Yankees owe him $21 million after this season. They may just buy him out and say sayonara. Clearly, with the moves that have been made, where Aroldis Chapman is gone, Andrew Miller is gone, Carlos Beltran, their best player, best hitter, he's gone. Stacking up on minor leaguers, outfielders, studs, and people's farm systems that they brought on board. There is no doubt that the Yankees have a youth movement in play, and there is no longer any need for Alex Rodriguez. According to the reports, he's expected to be bought out or let go any day. Alex Rodriguez, to his credit, very diplomatic, very classy about it, saying that he doesn't want to go, but he understands he hasn't been having a good year. He has to hold himself accountable, and it's clear that the organization is moving in a different direction. And I must admit to you that the vitriol that I once felt for this serial cheater no longer exists. How he handled himself last year, how he stepped up and owned it, knowing that there were going to be cynics, critics, etc., who were going to judge him accordingly. He was an individual that manned up ultimately after serving his suspension and came out there and performed decently well for the New York Yankees last year. Hit 33 home runs, drove in 86 runs, batted .250, but the numbers are significantly down this year. He's 4 home runs shy of 700, which is where another bonus would kick in. Alex Rodriguez is on his way out. Having said all of that, let me say this. You know, my producer extraordinaire, Nuno Texiera, brought up a very valid point from the standpoint that there were other guys on that original list of 103 names that were called out for performance-enhancing drug use, and they didn't take nearly the hits that Alex Rodriguez took in the court of public opinion, a la David Big Papi Ortiz. Fair enough. I don't think that can be denied. And there were other names that didn't come to the forefront, and you have a lot of people out there that are proponents of PED use so long as it doesn't harm us. But I'm not one of those guys. I can't go there. But it does seem, the significance of it all does seem to dissipate where there's such a fixation on it in the sport of Major League Baseball, but not necessarily in football or basketball. Somehow, some way, when we think about PED use, it's not locked in and zeroed in on in the sport of football and basketball the way it is in baseball. Why that is, I don't know. But that is a reality that can't be escaped. And when you look at it from that perspective, then you have to legitimately ask yourself the question, what's up with the vitriol aimed in the direction of Alex Rodriguez? Because he has handled it relatively well since he has returned. But we all knew this day was coming to an end. We all knew that Alex Rodriguez wasn't the same. My man Max Kellerman on First Take said, when you think about Alex Rodriguez, give credit where credit is due, because some people perform to get the money so they could get that fat contract. Alex Rodriguez used PEDs purportedly after he got the money because he wanted to maintain. Hello? Can y'all hear me? I think we got technical difficulties. I don't know if my audience still hears me. I apologize. They still hear you. Alex Rodriguez, one would argue, still went about the business of trying to perform and justify the dollars that he got. So because of that, what can you say about him? Me personally, I had a problem with the fact that he was a pathological liar. That's my issue. You know, he ain't willing to tell the truth. What's there to say? That's the issue. But at this stage, does it really matter? The Yankees aren't that good. He's fallen off significantly. And chances are he's not going to get his extra bonuses hitting home runs that one would argue he didn't deserve that much credit for to begin with because he was cheating half the time while he was doing it. We'll see where that happens and where that goes. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Another story that resonated over the last 12 hours or so. Story on ESPN.com. Michael and Martellus Bennett were interviewed for ESPN.com. They wrote a feature on the brothers. The article was written by Mina Kimes, or Kims, Kimes. Her first name is Mina, Mina. She went out to L.A., interviewed them both together, and there's a quote in there that obviously is going to resonate with a lot of people because they both are outspoken dudes. They have some issue, and they take some issue with the NFL and to describe the National Football League, Michael Bennett sat up there and essentially called the NFL N-word for lease. That's what he said the NFL stands for. N-word for lease. That's what he said. First of all, no need for him to use that word. The second he used that word, we all know how much that word stinks. And we all know how folks receive things when they hear that word. It immediately connotes racial adversity, to say the least. And as a result, Michael Bennett, probably in some people's eyes, deserved to take heat for it. Shouldn't have used that word. I'll be the first to say that. But I also take things in context as well. Because Martellus went on to elaborate on his brother's words by simply saying, growing up, black people never owned anything. I want to build. I want to make. Then he turns to his brother Michael and he says, how many black owners have there been in the history of the NFL? Michael responds, 0. We're check getters, not check writers. And I think it epitomizes the attitude of a lot of players in the NFL today. They think about the money that's being made by the league because of their deal with the NFL, with the television networks. They think about the fact that each owner cashed a check for $226 million over a year ago. They're thinking about the hard salary cap that limits a player's earning potential to some degree. They're thinking about the fact that the league and its teams under that umbrella, that banner that is the NFL brand, can give you dollars and then come to you to ask you to restructure your deal, to take a pay cut, et cetera, et cetera. But in the case of an Antonio Brown, for example, right here in Pittsburgh, where I'm at with the Steelers training camp, even though he had 136 receptions and over 1,800 yards, even though he's caught over 265 passes in the last 2 seasons for over 3,000 yards, they'll still tell him he has to wait until 1 year is left on his deal before they're even willing to talk about renegotiating his contract. Michael Bennett wants his money. Martellus Bennett believes he deserves more money. Both of them are getting paid in the $5 million range. They feel they're underpaid. And when you look at the money that the owners make, the limits that don't exist when it comes to what they're able to put in their coffers, you're going to have a lot of modern-day black athletes who feel exactly the way Martellus Bennett or Michael Bennett expressed themselves to feel. Here's the flip side. Here's the devil's advocate. It has nothing to do with race. The fact of the matter is there are NFL players who are white that are subjected to the same things that Michael and Martellus Bennett are subjected to. There are players that are subjected to a cap. There are white players just like black players who get asked to take pay cuts and restructure their deals, etc., etc. And by the way, despite all of that, the money that you're still getting paid still enables you to go out there and own your own businesses and to be check writers, not just check getters. So when you bring up the N-word, although we understand where you're coming from, it doesn't make you right. I'm not knocking Michael Bennett or Martellus Bennett. I love them both. They're both good brothers. I know them. We've interviewed them on several occasions. They're good people. And I think both of them deserve their money. All I'm saying is that Michael Bennett could have said what he said without invoking that word. It's just that simple. Because when you invoke that word, you make about half the population, if not more, tone deaf to your argument. And some would argue it may defeat the purpose. Although Michael Bennett could turn around and argue, well, had I not used that word, would y'all even be talking about this article that I was quoted in? So no matter which way you slice it, that's the way it goes. It is what it is. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. See a lot of calls on the line. Folks wanting to talk to me, get at me. It's all good. That's why I'm here. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. You can go to my Facebook page at Stephen A. Plus, you can go to my Twitter page at Stephen A. Smith. I'm not hard to find. And I appreciate the calls. I'm going to get to them next, right here on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Touchdown Green Bay. It's 20-0 on a 99-yard pass from Brett Favre.
3 MVP. Know the great comedian of our generation. He passed the baton to me. I say that facetiously because I don't know him. But the Love Doctor's here for you. What's up, man? What's going on?
All right, so I'm a truck driver on the road. I'm actually based out of Texas and everything. And my girlfriend for probably the past year or so, we've been having our little problems and everything because I've been on the road trying to get myself back together after getting out the military and everything. Okay. So I come home this past weekend for my home time, and come to find out, she was cheating on me and try to blame it, saying, hey, I've been gone all the time. I haven't been worried about her and stuff, but I done sit here and over the past year try to help you be better and make yourself better while trying to get myself together. Mm-hmm. And I'm just talking about how to go about handling it now.
Oh, so you want to know how to handle this now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me say this to you. How long have you been involved with her?
For altogether about a year and a half right now.
Okay, how often did you see her?
I'll come home like every weekend with the type of job I had.
But you were home every weekend?
Yeah.
And she was cheating on you?
Yeah.
Get rid of her. That's not about you being on the road. That's about her not wanting you enough. And I'm not casting aspersions on women out there. Men cheat just as much, if not more, than women. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those reasons are legitimate. Like one of my boys, I'll never forget, he was upset his woman was cheating on him, and he was gone 3 months at a time. What if you're never around? What do you expect? So that's different. But most women who love the man that they're with don't feel the need to be with somebody else because you only home on the weekends and you driving the truck on the weekdays. If they're with somebody else, it's because for one reason or another, you're not enough for them. That's just the truth. And the problem is that you on the road, right? Right, AJ? I don't want you on the road driving every day, because you have to understand what's going to happen right now. Every single day you're going to be wondering what she's doing, because she used your travels as an excuse. See, had she said, y'all been fighting, y'all been arguing, she's not happy, she doesn't feel the love, or that you love her, that she loves you, that's a different argument. Because you could converse with one another, talk with one another, do a lot of different things. But because she specifically told you that you're traveling so much, and you travel as often as you do, and there's no change that's coming down the pike, then she already told you there was a problem. What? Because you talked to her and forgive her, that's going to change it? It's not going to change it. Because it doesn't negate the fact that what made her unhappy is going to continue to make her unhappy. So why bother? Now, don't do anything to her. Don't do anything to her. Don't treat her like she's the ultimate villain. You would have appreciated some honesty instead of you finding out that she was doing certain things behind your back. But the reality is that for most women, I can't speak for any woman, but for most women, through my experiences, being raised by 5 women, dating women throughout my life, having a lot of female friends who date guys that are friends of mine, I must confess to you, it is rare that a woman who loves her man has a hard time being with him because he's not home until the weekends. If you are there every weekend, and she knows you're there every weekend, but still feels the need to be with somebody else, that ain't about you being on the road. That's about her not wanting you enough.
All right.
Go ahead. I know it's hard. You ain't doing nothing wrong here, bro. You out there trying to pound that pavement, make a better life for yourself. But part of making a better life for yourself is having someone better for you. I'm not knocking her. I'm not denigrating her in any way. I'm simply saying, if she betrayed you because of what you do for a living and the fact that you can only see her on weekends, it's not going to get better. That's just an excuse. Let it go.
Yeah.
I got to run, brother. Keep your head up. Call me anytime. Thank you for the call. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call. It's 888-623-3646. I feel sorry for that brother. I feel sorry I had to tell him that. Don't enjoy that. But the truth shall make you free. It doesn't just set you free, it makes you free. Just remember that. Kenny in New York, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, Kenny?
Yes, Stephen A. What's up, my brother? Glad you're back. You just making my birthday, because I got one thing to say to you. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Cowboy fan. Remember you said Phil Jackson can't recruit big-time talent?
Yep.
Kevin Durant already knew he wanted to go to Golden State after he lost that game against OKC. He knew all along he wanted, but he played the game. I say the same thing about LaMarcus Aldridge. He played the game, but he always knew he wanted to go to San Antonio. I'm happy with the move.
Well, I will say this to you. That wasn't necessarily the case with Kevin Durant. Maybe, but like you said, it might have been the case after he lost to them, but that wasn't the case throughout the year. But it was definitely the case with LaMarcus Aldridge. We all knew he was going to San Antonio.
Hey, Stephen A., when you did your homework and you kept quiet about it, I felt the same way about Kevin Durant all along. I said he wants to go to Golden State. He's going to go through little interviews and play the game, but ultimately his heart, he knew he wanted to go to Golden State. And the other thing about my Cowboys, with Rod Marinelli's defensive scheme, it really doesn't matter who you have on defense. That's how I feel about it.
Gotcha, man. Appreciate the call, Kenny. Thank you so much. Stefan in Las Vegas. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Stefan, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Hello, Stephen A.
Yes, thank you for calling. You're live on the air.
Okay, Stephen A. Hey, Stephen A., I'm a Cowboy fan, man, but that's not the reason I'm calling, Stephen A. Yesterday, Stephen A., you made a comment, man, that really didn't sit right with me. And I don't know how you meant it. But I just want you to explain to me if this is how you meant it. Yesterday, you were talking to some guy, and then you said something about God, and he obviously wasn't perfect because he created the devil, and that's not true, Stephen A. That part isn't true. God.
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
God created all things. That's all I meant by that.
Okay, well,
everything that's into existence. Now, if you're gonna say that he didn't create the devil, he created an angel that became a devil. Okay, that's okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. No. Okay, fine. I got that. I don't disagree with you. I was only saying that God has created all things.
Okay.
Our Heavenly Father is the creator of all things, and all things that are created come from Him. That's all I meant by that statement.
Yeah, okay, Stephen A., because like I said, that just didn't sit right with me, and I'm like, hold on, because I'm sure you got kids listening to your show, Stephen A., and even grown-ups who don't even know any better. So I just wanted to get that. I just wanted that to be clarified.
But let's be clear about something. I'm not wrong. It's just that it would have been better to say it the way that you would have preferred that I just said it, which I just explained.
No,
you see what I'm saying?
Because the way that I would have preferred, Stephen A. The way that it actually is, Stephen A.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Let me explain what I mean. Let me explain and then you can go. Let me explain what I mean.
Okay.
What I mean is explain, piggyback off my comments. What I was trying to say is that, what I was trying to say yesterday when we were talking about the subject is that God creates all things. Even though it was an angel who became the devil. That's who God created.
But you
see what I'm saying?
Okay. Stephen A., I said this to somebody else, and they said, I guarantee you, Stephen A., it's gonna be some type of where, he's gonna say, this is it. And I'm going to say, this is it. But I'm not here to, I like your producer. I'm not here to have a religious debate with you or nothing to that effect, Stephen.
I understand.
I just wanted to get that clarified. That's all. And you're right. Yes, the devil, the angel did become a devil, but he was an angel at first and started filling himself.
But what I'm saying to you is he's still God's creation.
This is correct. This is correct.
That's all I mean. That's all I mean by that. That's all I mean by that. Well, that's all I mean by that. But you are right that I should make sure that I explained it that way.
Okay.
You are right about
I'll
that.
Accept that, Stephen. I'll definitely accept that, man.
No, I got no problems with that.
I appreciate everything you do, Stephen A. I listen to you every day, man, and keep doing what you do, my brother.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. And Stefan's right. Stefan's right. Even though the devil's the devil, he was an angel first. And you don't want to just sit up there and say God created the devil. No, he created an angel who turned into the devil. Okay. I got that. And that's right for him to sit there and say, you would have preferred that I said it that way. I don't have a problem with that. I really, really don't. 888 Mad Dog 6 is 888-623-3646. Zashawn in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Is that correct, Zashawn?
Yeah, that's correct, Stephen A.
What's up, bro? How are you, man? Thanks for calling.
I'm good. How are you? I wanted to talk about Jason Terry. He had some comments on the Warriors saying they're not a super team. He was talking about, San Antonio. Jason Terry.
Jason Terry said that? He said that?
Yeah, he said they're not a super team yet. He said the Spurs were a super team with Parker, Ginobili, Duncan. He said that's a super team, not the Warriors yet.
Well,
what do you think about that?
What Jason Terry probably means by that is that they've already proven themselves because they're champions, whereas the Warriors haven't won anything yet. Because from a talent perspective, there's no denying that adding Kevin Durant to that crew makes them a super team on paper. But they haven't proven it yet. So you're not wrong. I'm not wrong for believing it. But Jason Terry's not wrong either for debunking that, because what he is saying is that I am a player in this league. You got to remember, Jason Terry is more qualified than me or you to make the statement that he made. Do you know why, Zashawn? Because we called LeBron with D. Wade and Bosh a super team back in 2011. Who beat him?
And he beat him 2011.
He beat him. That's why he gets to make that statement. So I can't say that Jason Terry is wrong. They have to prove it, and he is right to take that position because he has proven that you ain't a super team until you get it done.
Yeah, we can speculate now. I don't know what they're going to do during the season. But on paper, I think they're looking up there with
it doesn't matter. He's not talking about it. He's saying, he is saying that, guess what? You have to prove it first. That's his only point. And he has a right to say it. Former sixth man of the year, one of the great shooters in their game. And he's a champion. Jason Terry has earned the right to say what he said. We have to deal with that.
I think they're going to prove it. I think they're going to do it this year.
Well, you can think what you want. You can think what you want. But until they do it, Jason Terry's not wrong. Take it easy. I appreciate it, man. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call up. It's 888-623-3646. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio in a minute.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.
6, let's go to Sean in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Sean, good afternoon. How are you?
How you doing, Stephen A?
I
just want to say I always love hearing you. You are one of the few sportscasters that does not push an agenda. You report. You're outstanding. I love it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
What you were saying about Martellus and Michael Bennett.
Yep.
I understand the race issues, how that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I understand, everybody wants to get paid. But with these athletes, you're making $5 million a year. How much more can you want? You look at someone, let's take a soldier, for example. Mm-hmm. A soldier gets his body beat to death over the course of his career.
Right.
He never even sniffs $5 million a year.
Okay. Let me interject. Let me have a conversation with you right now. Okay, Sean?
Okay. Please do.
First of all, let me first say I take no offense, nor should anybody take any offense with your position, okay? So I want to make sure I preface my comments by saying that. But let me ask you a question. Are you a white individual?
I am.
Do you ask the same question about owners who rake in the money they rake in?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying you should make sure you come across. Because when you say a player, he's making $5 million, how much more do you want? You know what their response could be? How about the $226 million check each of the 30 owners got last year? Now, obviously, that's not realistic, nor should it be, because the owners take a risk. When you're a business owner, just like you invest, just like you sit up there and you profit, you also take risk that those with guaranteed deals do not take. So we get that. But there's no cap on what the owners could reap in. There's no cap on what they can earn and what their earning power is. But you have a salary cap in the National Football League. Now, the football players may benefit to some degree because the cap elevates each year. But what their argument would be is that that's only football-related income. Everything doesn't fall under the guise of football-related income. There's a lot of money that's on the table that their exploits generate for the owners that they don't get to share in, and no one calls up and says that the owners shouldn't be making their money. They only say the players shouldn't be making their money, and that's where they have a problem with it. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I understand that completely. Thanks for clearing that up. You know, the owners, the whole world needs to kind of look at, do we have enough? When's enough? And I'm for free market economy. I don't believe that everybody should have to share and share alike. What you earn is what you earn. You know, you make your money, I make my money. I'm not entitled to your money.
Right.
But, you know, when it comes to Michael and Martellus Bennett, they are correct in what they say now that you've explained the owner side of things to me.
Right. So, now, do you watch politics, Sean? Do you pay attention to politics?
Yes,
that's basically the argument that's going on and has been going on for decades with the evolution of conservatism compared to progressiveness and liberalism. You have progressives, liberals, who swear up and down, look, we're not saying that we're not a capitalistic society and you shouldn't be able to earn as much money as you possibly can. But at the same time, the discrepancy, the divide between that top 1% and everybody else has widened so exponentially that something has to be done to reel it in, because when is enough? But then on the conservative side, they're like, in a capitalistic society, particularly with the private sector as opposed to depending on government, if you have the ability to go out there and make the money, why should you be inhibited from earning as much money as you possibly can if your marketability and your earning power says so? So this is the divide that we have to deal with as prospective voters and as U.S. citizens going forward. We're actually talking about the same things. We just didn't choose to invoke the N-word like Michael Bennett did.
Agreed. And until everybody starts looking at, here's the solution for the NFL and Michael Bennett, not just Michael Bennett, but all the players. You know, here's my position on that. Got it. These players, they put their bodies on the line, and there's quite a few of them that once they retire, their quality of life is not that great.
Okay.
You know, I understand that. I do. Yep. Here's my question. Why hasn't somebody come up and said, you know what, the owners are making these guys backs. Am I not correct in that?
Yeah, the owners are doing what?
The owners are making money off of their players, right?
Yes.
If you've got great players and a great team, you're making money, right?
Yes.
So why isn't there some kind of stock share that a player gets to has in the team or something like that?
Well, you got to remember, they can't do that for everybody, and it is a collective bargaining agreement that says the players get their share and the owners get their share. You also have to remember that while we're saying all of that, again, one of the things that Michael Bennett is pointing to as well is that Tom Brady gets a $1 million or $1.6 million salary this year, but he got a $28 million signing bonus or whatever. He's going to end up pocketing over $29 million. And so there are exceptions and things of that nature that are made for certain players that aren't necessarily made for others. I got to go, Sean, but please feel free to call back so we can talk about this more extensively in the days and weeks to come, because I'm not going anywhere. Let's go to Anthony in Dallas. You're live with Stephen A. Mad Dog. What's up, Anthony?
What's going on, Stephen A? My boy, I finally get to talk to you.
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thank you for calling.
I'm doing great, man. I'm a big fan of First Take, man. I just want to come in on the salary
By
cap
the way,
in NFL.
let me stop you for a second. How you feeling about the new First Take?
Oh, you know what, man? I love the First Take, man. You know, I miss Skip. You know, no lie. You know, I honestly, I miss Skip. But you know, Max is pretty good, man. You pretty good, of course.
He's pretty
You're
damn
my favorite
good.
star. Yeah. He's pretty good.
Well, let's be clear. Max is pretty damn good. But let's face reality. It was. I will never sit up there and say that Skip Bayless was better than me. Come on now. You know that. I'm allergic to saying that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's my man. That's my man. But he ain't getting that. He ain't getting that title over me.
Yeah. You're right.
Go ahead, bro.
That, man. Can't nobody mess with Stephen A. Yeah, you're right, man. But anyway, man, I want to talk about the NFL, man. You know, I think it's a form of slavery out of the owners are doing the players. The reason why I say that, man, they're making all that money. The players are getting banged up, hurt. You know, they're taking pay cuts. You know, I think they should compensate, you know, a little bit more to the players. You know, blacks and
Well, let me say this. Let me say this to you. I agree with your premise that the players should be getting paid more. I agree with your premise that, you know, the cap shouldn't be as stringent and as rigid as it is. It should be a softer version of a cap as opposed to a die-hard, just hard salary cap. But we have to get to a point where we stop using the word slavery when it comes to professional sports. I understand the temptation. I understand the frustration when we see the discrepancy in terms of fairness and things of that nature. But you cannot use the word slavery when cats are getting paid millions, when some are making more in one season than you yourself, Anthony, will make in your lifetime. We got to stop that, man. We got to stop that. People can't relate to that, bro. We can't relate. You know what they say to you? I'd love to be a $5 million slave. That's what they'd say. That's what they'd say. Well, and you and I both know it. We got to stop using that word.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I guess it's the way that I saw it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, know, but with that being said, with the NBA, I think you were kind of, hard on Kevin Durant a little bit, man.
Let me ask you a question. Why was I hard on him? What point did you disagree with?
Okay, this is what I disagree with. Okay, I disagree with, the fact that you say he went to the Warriors. I mean, he could have stayed in OKC, but honestly, me personally, I think he should have went to the Clippers. I think they would have been in a finals. You see what I'm saying? I think the Clippers would have been a way better team for him to go to. But LeBron went to Miami. Everybody gave him a pass. Kevin Durant goes to the Warriors. Everybody talking negative again.
Let me explain, and then if you disagree with you disagree. We'll respectfully disagree. LeBron went to a Miami Heat team that was fresh off a 47-35 season, bounced out in 5 games in the first round against Boston. That's who LeBron James went and joined, and then he was the man. What he didn't do was go to a team that he was up 3-1 on in the conference finals, lose game 5, choke in game 6, lose game 7, and then join them. And not only did he join them, he joined a 2-time league MVP who has a championship and were the reigning defending NBA champions when they came back from a 3-1 deficit and beat you. You can't understand why I would feel that way?
Well, you know what? I understand your position. I really do. But you got to understand Kevin Durant's position. He ain't won a championship. He's been in the league, 9 years, I believe. But, with that being said, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he had to go.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I didn't belabor the point. They asked me how I felt at that moment, and I told them. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to belabor the issue. I'm simply saying Kevin Durant is one of the top 3 players in the world. Kevin Durant, I believe, did a very weak move by electing to go to the Warriors. Had he gone to Miami, had he gone to the Clippers, had he gone to the Knicks or somebody else, it would have been different. To go to the 2-time Western Conference champions who beat you after you couldn't close them out up 3-1, I consider it to be the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar.
Well, I understand, your position on that, but, honestly, like I said earlier, I think he should have went to the Clippers. I think he would have won a championship with the Clippers.
Listen, so do I. I think that would have been beautiful. That would have been beautiful. But he wanted to be on the bandwagon. He didn't want to derail it. And that's why I thought it was weak. I got to run, bro. Yeah. Appreciate the call, man. Call back anytime, Anthony. Thank you so much. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. Your phone calls to close out the show in a minute before Mad Dog Russo comes on with his afternoon drive show. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
If you missed the Morning Man with Evan and Babs on Wednesday, you missed our conversation about LeBron chasing.
Keeping a reverend waiting on the line. It is 49 minutes past the hour. Only got a few minutes left in the show. I'll try to get to your phone calls, but I got to get to the Reverend first. Mr. Reverend Wheeler out of Maryland. You are live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Good afternoon, sir. Honored to talk to you. How are you?
Good, Stephen A. It's great to talk to you as well. And thank you for the great job that you do and the voice that you put out. And you make clear what life is about in terms of how we go about that, and we relate it to sports. And what I wanted to say to you is that I'm so glad you clarified your comment about God creating the devil yesterday. Now, I understood it when you said it because I listened to you enough and understand where you were coming from. So I'm glad you cleared that up. So thank you for that.
Reverend, let me say this.
Yes,
and I appreciate you calling up. I appreciate the previous caller calling up, Anthony, and talking to me about that because, listen, I'm on the air live 4 hours a day. Like, this is a perfect example of the kind of stuff that happens to me that occasionally has gotten me in some trouble. Now, overall, I'm trying to say God's created everything. That's all I meant by that. But I didn't mean it like, he created evil. I mean, it's like he created all beings. The devil was an angel who became the devil. He was supposed to be, angelic and good, and he became evil. But God still created him, and the devil literally, as evil as he is, still prays to God. And so I was just trying to say that God has created all things, and people will look and they'll say, well, he missed the word and he created the angel who became the devil. But theoretically, he still created the devil. It's just that he created him as an angel and he transformed into the devil.
Right. And see, what I heard you say it yesterday, I knew where you were coming from with it. And sometimes folks need to get a little more clarification just for their own sake and not to. And
I don't mind. The problem is, Reverend, that folks want to get you fired as opposed to doing what you did and what Anthony was kind enough to do. Just call up and correct me. It's not a problem. But instead they're like, he should be fired. This is what people do.
No.
That's the way they
and like I said, it's the great work that you do and the voice that you have and what you say. I just wanted to let you know, it's just appreciated. It's appreciated. As a black male priest, I appreciate you. God bless you and your continued work. And you take care. All right?
Hold on, wait a minute. Didn't you want to say something about your Warriors?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know if we had time.
Go ahead. Go ahead real quick.
I'm a Warriors fan, and I need some help in defending the fact that one of my good friends calls my Warriors a soft team. And also said that with them adding Kevin Durant to the team does not make them more of a physical team.
They're not more of a physical team. They're not more of a physical team, but here's how you defend them. What the Warriors did was look at the rules and look at the way the game was evolving and decided this is the best way to be successful based on the rules that have been implemented to govern today's game. And they've done it more exceptionally than anybody else. That doesn't make them soft. That makes them smart. That's all you got to say.
Smart. Okay. I got you.
Got to go.
I got you. Listen, I know you got to appreciate you, man. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless, Reverend. Thank you so much. Let's go to Jared in Atlanta. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jared?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A?
I'm all right.
I was calling to say, man, I'm disagreeing with your thesis that Jordan will never be caught, or about LeBron. LeBron is out of it. I think realistically, everybody talks about, Jordan going undefeated in the finals. I think it's the most overblown stat, and I don't say it to say that it doesn't matter, but I say it to say not all finals or championship rings are the same. And back when Jordan was playing, the Eastern Conference was way better than the Western Conference. They had the Celtics, the Bulls, and the Pistons, who were all 3 of the top 4 teams in the league. Same way that now the Western Conference is way better than the Eastern Conference. So the fact that LeBron plays in a lesser Eastern Conference and then happens to face a better team in the finals doesn't negate the greatness, because likewise, if, let's say, Detroit, like they are in the NHL, was in the Western Conference, and Jordan had lost to the Pistons the same 2 years he lost to them, but it was in the finals, I don't think we look at Jordan any differently.
Well, I would say this to you. I don't think anything takes away from the greatness of LeBron. He shut us all up, including myself. I have nothing but great things to say about him. I'm just saying he'll never be Jordan, to me. That's all I'm saying. Because he'll never be flawless and unblemished in an NBA Finals. I saw him lose 4 times, even though to me, legitimately, it was just 2 times.
Legitimately, I think it was once. I think the Mavs was the only one you could count against them. Even the Spurs, when they got blown out. I mean, in game 1, they were up 6 points. He cramped up with 6 minutes to go, and they lost by 19.
Well, that's on him, though, man. That's on nobody else cramped up.
But here's the thought, though. The fact that if you can come off the court for 6 minutes and your team can get outscored by 25 points shows how bad that team was mismatched.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Last thing I'll say about that with LeBron is, I think the other caller was talking about LeBron being a better defender than Jordan. He was not. I think they both were equal defenders. I think Jordan may have been a better defender of the guards. LeBron was a little bit more versatile. But the thing about LeBron is, when he's done with his career, LeBron is going to have more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, more blocks. And
yeah, but you can't ignore the way the game has evolved and changed and facilitates the greatness of somebody like LeBron, because the physical specimen that he is, combined with how soft the game is called these days, that is what it is. But let's talk about this more when I got more time, Jared. Thank you for the call. I get your points. They're legit. Dwayne in Louisiana, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yes, how you doing? My question, and you probably already answered this question, and I apologize if you have to repeat it. If Durant would have beaten Golden State and lose to Cavs, and then go to Golden State, would you give him the okay of going then?
Yes. Yes. Nobody's ever asked me that. You're the first. I would have had no problem with that.
Okay.
I would have had no problem with that.
Question.
Yep.
One more. Okay. And another question I have. You had said something about the last year about when Kyrie and Kevin Love was hurt, and then you said that Golden State probably would not have won last year, but then this year you had said that Draymond Green would have.
We got to run. So we were not. I know exactly where you're going. I believe if Kyrie and Love were healthy last year, Cleveland would have beaten them last year, because Golden State didn't know how to win. This year, when Golden State was up 3-1, I think if Draymond Green had not gotten suspended for that Game 5 with the momentum Golden State had, I think Golden State would have won the championship this year. That is what I said. But we can talk about it more tomorrow. Mad Dog Russo's up next with his afternoon drive show. This is Stephen A.
The VR Spotlight with